So it's predominantly yellow, but look at that color. Oh my gosh. So can roll it up, make a little ball out of it.
Now, our guest today is Brenda Boylan. Brenda,
Hi,
you ready?
Eric.
Okay, it looks like you're all ready.
I am. I have all my equipment here. And are we ready then?
We're ready. We're rolling.
Awesome. So a lot of times when you're painting with pastels, your pastels will fall to the ground sometimes. And also, we collect a lot of the dust that falls from the painting into a trough. And I have a way to recycle those bits and pieces. And I want to give you some really good tips on how to do it effectively, cleanly, and quickly. Um, so first and foremost, the main thing you're going to need are some latex or rubber gloves. You don't want to use dishwasher gloves because they'll leave imprints on the pastel. And I like the vinyl type. I use a white one. And you're going to need distilled water and a dropper. And you're going to need hand wipes for cleanup. And if you don't have a pestle and mortar, you can always get one of these like through an online Amazon or whatever, a pestle and mortar, or what I've always learned to do is to use Ziploc bags, which are cheap and effective. So today we're going to use the Ziploc bags because this is pretty
Cheap and
easy.
effective.
It's very effective. And I mean, when you throw them out, it's wasteful. I'm always thinking more about plastics with our earth. I also have a rubber mallet to help crush the pastels in the Ziploc bag.
Now, you probably had that anyway because you used that on Joe.
No.
Okay.
No. And I have a baby rag, baby diaper that I use in the studio quite a bit. It's very soft cotton, and I use this to help pound with the rubber mallet. And then I also have two palette knives. So if I want to make like a square shaped pastel, I can help mold it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, I have separated my pastels into their main hues. And I have larger chunks in my bowl here, but normally I'll have like pastel dust that fell to my bin, and it usually ends up making a gray color. But here I have some chips that have broken off, and you can reuse them. There's nothing wrong with it. They're pigment, and they already have the binder in them, and all you have to do is crush them. So I'm going to take a Ziploc bag, and I'm gonna open it up, and I think what I would like to do is make maybe a beautiful purple. So with purple, if you're into color theory like I am, it's between red and blue, and I have my red and blue, and that will make a violet purple. So I'm going to add these beautiful intense blues. Look at that. Oh,
it's my favorite color.
Oh, I know. I love these blues. So anyway, I'm going to add a couple of them. Here's one that's like a blue violet, and this lighter blue. So that'll make the pastel a little lighter in value if I add a little lighter blue. And then I think I'm going to use these two cooler reds because they're closer to violet than like a cooler red would be here on this than a red. Red is pretty warm, but I'm going to make it more of a blue violet. So I'm going to go for the cooler blue. So you're using a lot of color theory with mixing pastels, and it really, if you understand color theory and get to know color theory, then your work improves greatly. I can't tell you how much I love color theory. And it's just learning how colors work together. So I'm going to take this Ziploc bag, I'm going to zip it up, and then I'm going to wrap it in this diaper like that. And oh, also you're going to need tarps and yeah, just an area that you can wipe up clean. So you have to be careful about having cats or animals or pets or children or whatever around. So, and I would recommend that you do this outside in your garage. And so here I'm going to move a few things out of the way. And I'm going to pound on this. I got a ways to go on this one, but you can see how it's starting to crush.
Yep.
Yeah, and ooh, this is going to be a real beautiful color. See, this isn't something we normally do on TV.
You gotta move your bowls out of there.
Yeah, that's probably.
They're gonna go flying.
Yeah. Well, I'm on a card table. I'm in my office at home, and that's kind of problematic because I don't got Wi-Fi in my studio. Remember?
Yep. Great way to get your frustrations out.
Oh, I know. Oh, yeah. And then anyway, they're starting to get crushed up. And I'm going to do this as well. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that it's nice and smooth. So you don't want to have any pieces.
You want all powder, is that right?
You want it all a fine powder, because what will happen is if you have two colors together that are uniquely different, say like a blue and a yellow that you're crushing together, the yellow and the blue will make stripes on your mark making, and it will be inconsistent, and you want it to be consistent, very consistent. So I can fill it in here, and I can still feel some chunks. You know, maybe I use this mortar just to kind of make things a little faster. And I'm going to stick my Ziploc bag in here and crush it this way. Oh, get your aggressions out. You see that?
Well, you have no aggression.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of an evil laugh there.
Yeah, I know. I was listening to the interview that you did of me the other day, the interview that we had at the studio there. And I have to compliment you, Eric. You have such so much experience with interviewing and asking the right questions. And ooh, that feels really good. So I'm kind of need a little bit more. This is the part that's just kind of tricky, because you have to make sure it's nice and nice fine dust. And I'm doing this very cleanly because I have a Ziploc bag. But when I do roll pastels, I'll take it out in the garage, and it'll be like very, very messy. So there's still some chips in here.
Do you typically wear a mask?
Yes, thank you for asking about that. I typically don't, but I would recommend that we do, because I've learned from the master Kitty Wallace, and she says that it's not possible to get ill from the pigment, but I'm still cautious. So today I won't be, because I want you to be able to hear my voice and not be muffled. And I think we're all a little tired of wearing masks. Oh, that feels really good. Okay, yeah. There's a couple more pieces in there. And anyway, yeah, I picked up this mortar on Amazon, and this is my first time using it, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, I could probably do some cooking with it too, you think?
No, maybe not after pigment's been in it.
I was trying to catch you on that one, Eric. All right, so I think it's for now, for time-wise, I'm going to say that it's all completely crushed, and I'm going to add a few drops of distilled water.
How do you
And
know
it
how
has to
many?
be distilled water. You don't want to use drinking water, and you don't want to use purified water. You want to use distilled water.
How do you know
Because,
how many drops to add?
well, you're going to add a few at a time, and you're going to make start to squish them together.
Ooh, fun.
And you're going to want to make it into a clay-like texture. And you don't want to add too much water, because if you do, then it's just going to be a mess. So we use a dropper to do it just a little bit at a time. Yeah. Oh, I can feel it. So when it gets wet, it starts to feel cold, and that's just nature and what it does. Can you see inside of there?
Yep. Yummy.
Yeah, I know.
You're
Look at
making
that
me hungry.
violet. That's going to be gorgeous.
Yeah, you're making me hungry.
And the cool thing about this hand rolling your leftover pigments is you can add from a really beautiful, vibrant, pigmented pastel. You can add a chip or two from one that's in its color family, just to really give it a lot of vibrancy. But also, you can choose to make what I call mystery colors. It's when they're just a bunch of colors like the pastel dust from your tray.
Get a lot of grays, I'll bet.
Oh, gorgeous grays. Yeah. And oh my gosh, I have so many pastels from that have been given to me, and then sometimes I'll just take the pastels and roll what I have. I have so many I can make my own. And it's still needing a little more water, and obviously I didn't grind it up as well as it should have been, but for lack of time, I'm gonna put a little bit more water in there.
Well, maybe putting it in the mortar and pestle. Is it pedestal? Pestle. Anyway.
Pestle.
Pestle. Maybe you put it in there and squish it around now and see what happens. Maybe it'll help the water absorb it more.
Yeah, maybe. Let's try it.
Plus, you've just bought it. You have to use it.
Oh my goodness, I know. So, yeah, why not? Why not? I was thinking that would be more effective, but here we are. So I'm going to stick this in here, and I'm going to try to be neat about it. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh, look at that color. Oh my gosh. Can you see that?
Not yet. Oh, how pretty.
Oh my gosh. Ugh.
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 Hold that up to the camera so we can see it. Oh.
Yeah. Now I can make this a little lighter in value and less intense if I added more if I added like a light white pastel to it, or yeah, like a white pastel. I'm gonna get this mortar thing. I'm not doing this right. This new mortar thing is kind of cool. Anyway, you can make up any color you want, and a lot of times I just call them mystery colors, like I said. And I'm gonna set this aside and then start to crushing this up a little bit. And boy, this really is gonna need a lot of water. For some reason, it's not turning into clay as well. Oh yeah, there we go. Can you see that, you guys?
A little bit.
Yeah. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's looking like a clay now. And I'm going to use this
If you guys are enjoying this, make sure to leave a comment or a like or a heart, and also share it so other people can see it. This is, I think, a first time on this show.
Yeah, I would think it is the first time. This isn't something that you typically would see. And I thought it would be something completely unique for you guys. And so if you have, if your pastel pigment, see, it looks like I added a little too much water to it to mix it because it's very gooey. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it on a paper towel. And this happens when we're rolling is you have to try to get the consistency where it's like clay. If you guys know what clay is, hopefully. I have the paper here. And can you see this, you guys?
Yep.
Okay, good. It's messy. I'm going to blot it with my paper towels. Ooh, yum. I'll blot it again because it's still a little wet. Ah, look at that. It's super messy, super fun. Look at that. Oh, I get to roll it. I'm going to blot it a little bit more. It's still too wet. Blah. Very wet.
Love the sound effects.
I know. It's really funny how it wants to stick to my hands, which is not that funny. But as I roll it, it'll all start to collect, like, you know, how mercury does in a aluminum. Mercury does from a thermometer, if you've ever spilled one of those, which is toxic. Anyway, so you roll. At this point, it would be good for me to get another pair of gloves because they're super sticky. And but that's okay. I'm not going to do that. And you can roll them. And I pulled out a couple of pieces of paper here, and that I have. It's like a hard writing paper. And
Ooh.
kind of like, I'm going to do it like that. Come on, let go. And I'm going to take my gloves off because they're awfully messy. I'm going to start getting messy. So it's always good to have a lot of gloves with you when you're doing this kind of stuff.
Yeah, so you'd like to use 12 pair of gloves for one single pastel stick.
No, not that many. And and I'm going to make this one a little bit square. I've never done this before, so this is kind of fun. I learned this the other day, where you could take your palette knife, and I like the square, holding a square pastel in my hand, and the round ones are fun too. But I can get a really, really good edge with a square that has a sharp edge on it. And I'm gonna,
Wow.
yeah, that's so fun.
Yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. So
We get excited about the least little things, don't we?
I know.
So how long does that have to dry?
So that's a good question, Eric.
Thank you.
Till it's no longer cool to the touch. And there you have it.
Wow.
Look at that.
So in theory, one could just buy dry pigments and make their own pastel sticks that way, yes?
Well, you're going to need to have gum tragacanth as the binder. And there are other things. Sometimes they'll use talc powder, but gum tragacanth is the binder, and distilled water, like I said. And the pure pigment, each pigment has its own unique characteristics because they're gathered from all over the world from different things. It could be from the earth, it could be from flowers or plants. It could be pigments come from
Dirt.
even insects. I think there's one that's from horse urine. I'm not sure. That's why you want to wear gloves. But they all have their unique characteristics because they some pastel or some pigments can be a little harder than other pigments, and that's why you're going to need a little more, a little less binder and a little more of the pigment itself. But for saving some money and you already have these leftover pastel pieces, chips, you can repurpose them and make your own. So,
Oh. And
I don't know.
how quickly can you do that when you're not demonstrating? Because obviously to take 22 minutes to make a single pastel stick it's a big investment in time.
Well, once I get rolling, no pun intended, it really goes fast. So the time that takes the most is crushing it and getting it so that it's nice and smooth powder, a silky powder. And then once you have the pigment, then you can start mixing. Like I could probably crush in here maybe another color. And I'm going to put, if I put yellow in the violet, guess what will happen?
I don't know what'll happen.
Yellow and violet are complementary colors. So you're going to get a muted color, a gray. So I could do that and we'll see what happens. And obviously I have a little bit of, just a little bit of violet left over in here. And you can mix your own colors. And it's, oh my gosh, it's so, you know what I really love about art is that you just take all sorts of elements and you can make things with them. I mean, I've been an explorer with mediums my whole life. Clay, drawing, plaster, sculpting, weaving, everything. I honestly, I just have a wealth of all sorts of information on that. But I really enjoy getting my hands into my materials and having some ownership to everything that goes into what I create. And that's what art is to me, is exploring and trying new things and asking myself, what if? And obviously you can see how this is really messy because I've never done this before. I'm, using this mortar.
I like
But
it.
yeah, it's cool. I mean, look at this purple and yellow combined. It looks like it's turning into a green. I don't know, look, kind of a green color. Anyway, so when you are going to be rolling your own pastels, you want to do it outside. I wouldn't recommend doing it inside, like maybe a garage or out in the back patio or somewhere where, if you get messy, it's not going to ruin your carpet or your floor. And I would never paint pastels with carpet underneath me, but because the dust can be problematic, but there are tools out there to help you to keep things clean and dry and healthy, like a filter and dustbin and etc. So I'm in my office right now because my studio doesn't have great Wi-Fi. So here I am in my office, and I had to set everything up on a card table with you know um, a drop cloth underneath, and wow, look at that color. So I'm gonna get.
Yummy.
I know, it's like, oh, where'd my rubber gloves go? I just had them. They must have fallen off the floor. A stack of them. Well, I'll just reuse these guys. So, I don't know how much time we have left, Eric.
Oh, you got enough.
I do?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll make a mess. Let's make a mess.
All right, let's.
Do you think you would do this, Eric? Probably not, huh?
Well, it depends on what my hourly rate turns out to be.
So, the fun thing about this is it's just that it's handmade and you're repurposing the pastels that have fallen into your tray when you've painted, because sometimes they'll fall, and you'll also collect dust, and you can make truly unique colors. And those are irreplaceable pastels. They'll never be invented. There's no recipe for them at all because you're just making them out of leftovers. And it, after a while, your dustbin gets filled, and it's a great way to, like I said, just repurpose them. So I'm going to try and grab this out of here. I don't know how. This is kind of odd. I'm making a mess, Eric. So I gathered more of the pastel dust, and I'm going to, ooh, wow, that's really cool. Look at that color. I mean, that looks like something like a spring green.
Well, what's nice about it is you're getting a lot of surprises. Unlike oil paint, where you just mix until you're getting it perfect, you're just kind of having to guess.
Yeah, and well, I had this beautiful vibrant purple, and then I added, I had just the dregs of the violet, and I added a big chunk of yellow. And so this is predominantly a green. So if I were to look at this color wheel here, which is always such a handy little tool, I mixed the yellow with the violet, and I had more yellow. So the more yellow is going to be in this area here, which obviously it did, and it's grayer. So it's not an intense yellow, it's a grayer yellow like this. It's closer to this color right here. So it's predominantly yellow, but look at that color. Oh my gosh. So I can roll it up, make a little ball out of it. Like that.
Woohoo.
Such a little cutie. Look at that. So once you have your pigments all rolled up, and you rolled them, and then you set them out to dry, and like I said, you could use one of these. You can use a piece of white paper to make it really smooth, or you can just have it as a hand rolled one. And this is a nice way to make it really consistent in shape and size. And then you set it out to dry on a paper towel for, I would say 2 or 3 days. But I like to give it a week to make sure that it's completely dry. And you don't want it to be, you want it so it's no longer cool to the touch. This is the way to tell that it's ready to be used. So that is how you use the dust from your pastel tray.
Awesome. So why don't you come back on camera? I want to talk to you about something.
Okay.
All right. Our guest today is Brenda Boylan, and Brenda just released a brand new video for beginners. Brenda's an excellent pastel artist, but she felt there was something needed for the beginners and the early stage people. Talk to me about that, Brenda.
Yeah. Well, when you're painting with pastels, you have a lot of droppings and accidents with your pastels, and I like to take those droppings and reuse them, and it's saves some money. It's a unique way of handling your pastels, and it's creative. It's just a lot of fun. So, and messy.
So tell us about your thinking on creating a video for beginners. Tell us why you did that.
Well, my process of teaching is I like a lighthearted approach, so that it lets you relax a little more and take in information better. It's hard to explain for me, but it's just who I am and what comes out, and the fun part, which is I don't know, we just use a lot of fun. Did that make sense? Sorry, Eric.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Let me just play this for everybody so they can see about the fun part.
Oh, okay,
Hi, I'm
there.
Brenda Boylan, and welcome to my workshop. In this workshop, we're going to be diving into pastels, and I'm going to teach you everything you're going to need to know to create a good painting. We're going to be learning about the materials, the supplies, the composition, color theory. There's so much to learn about pastels that my intention is to share everything that I know. What's unique about my workshop is that I love to teach fun things. I love to have fun while I'm teaching. The workshop should be lighthearted, and that way we're more likely to receive this information a lot easier when we use a light approach. What holds students back is the fear of failure and making mistakes on their work, and they're inhibited by perfectionism. You'll see that even I make mistakes as a professional artist, and that there's ways to fix them. I like to address this as a real creative medium, and if I can help you have a lot of fun, your ability to learn faster will come along with the joy of creating. Students' painting skills are only built with their intention to build and upon and practice. It doesn't come magically. So come join me in this painting journey along with all my other little pastel friends here, my pastels, and we can make some color.
Outstanding. Well, it's exciting to see that. You know, we had never done we did one for beginners a long time ago, but it turned out it was more sophisticated than we wanted. And so we asked you to do one for beginners, and you really bring it down to the core basics, you know, assuming that people don't know anything about it. And for somebody like me, that's so important because, you know, learning pastel is you know, it's a challenge, and like anything else, it's you got to kind of have somebody tell you all the basics.
Yeah, and it's a medium that's not very, let's say, oil and watercolor and sculpture are well known in the world, but pastel is a rare beauty, and it's a wonderful medium to work with. And there's a lot of information that needs to be shared with those who are interested in pastel. It's it's a wonderful medium, and I just want to share that and help people learn how to create, and starting from the beginning. And yeah, it's just a lot of fun. I can't hear you, Eric.
Oh, okay. My mic was muted. I apologize. There's some workers, and I want to make sure the noise isn't going through. Anyway, Brenda, thank you so much for doing this and for sharing. If people want to buy that video, just go to painttube.tv, or they can just look for the link in the comments. And Brenda, we appreciate you showing us what you did with making pastel sticks today. I have a lot of pigments I need to do something with. So I'll have to get some of that binder and try this, and I'll get my hands all goopy. It'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah, do it out on the back porch, Eric.
Yeah. Well, and what I like about pastel is that you get that vibrant color. You know, if you add, when you take pastel, or you take pigment and you add linseed oil into it, it sometimes changes the color that you're seeing. But when you do it this way, it's really keeping that color the same. So you can go and get your pigment in that bright, vibrant color. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because you already have the binder in the leftover pastel, but you can actually make your own pastels if you have the right binder stuff to go with it. I don't have the technicalities right offhand for it, but it is a lot of fun, Eric. And every little bit that you do with your art is a learning experience, and so I just like to share that stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Brenda. Thanks for being on today. And you guys make sure that you share this in the comments section. You share it on your social media, put a comment in, make sure you put a comment in also so you can win that prize, which is the Plein Air magazine apron. And Brenda, I'm a little disappointed that you're not wearing yours today.
Oh, well, I have this one on.
Yeah, I know.
I know. I'm not in my office or in my studio where I have my Plein Air magazine.
Yeah, right.
I do.
Good recovery. All right, Brenda, thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric, so much too for bringing me on.